Hello. I wanted to shortly cover something and then watch some of my own videos and see what I think about these and if I get the copyright strike and what have you. And my topic is going to be why it's a pretty horrifying experience being treated by an atheist. And I couldn't find a word in my vocabulary for this kind of atheist, but the kind of atheist who doesn't believe the universe can do something to you, doesn't believe in the existence of the other. So, a person where if you are, for example, bullied, their response won't be to say, for example, go to the teachers, go to the parents, teach you self-defense or whatever. Their response will be going to a place where they think, why is this person summoning the bully into their reality? They There is no equivalent word for it in English vocabulary, far as I understand. But these types of atheists so fervently believe that there is no other in the universe other than themselves, that anything that happens to them only happens to them based on their own exact desires. So when you are, for example, bullied, their response will be, why are you asking the bully to bully you? If you are being subjected to a disease, their response will be, why are you summoning the disease? It sounds like a good personality type to use as a doctor, but the experience of being treated by them is absolutely horrifying. Because when in psychology, these types of people, one moment, because when in psychology, these types of people ask you, why do you believe then some statement that you made that is rising from the understanding that the other in this statement is doing something to you. Their question of why do you, and then, for example, believe that they are doing this or whatever. There are many variants of this particular thought form, but I'm sure that you can think of what I mean. Now, if you try to convince them that somebody else is doing something to you, they will literally think you're insane. To them, in their reality, there is no else. If something happens, it can only happen by your own desire. There is no outsider. So if you ask them the simplest and most easy to understand parallel to that, why do you need to imagine patience? This is the result. If they ask you why you feel the need, for example, to summon trouble into your life, and you ask them, why do you feel the need to summon patience into your life, there will be a complete disconnect in what you say to them. They will not function with it. There is no understanding that can be gained from it. When you tell them that if I am truly summoning these things as you say, then you are also summoning the need to have patience. Should you think about that for a moment? If there truly is no outsider and healthcare, if there truly is no outsider and healthcare from that point of view can be done, it is not an impossibility. Just there are conflicts when you do it from one to the other. If there truly is no other, then the doctor must certainly understand that he is creating intentionally patients for himself as a reflection of himself. Those patients only are for him and nobody else. He is being fulfilled by his desire to have patience. There is no intrinsic value to it, there is no true benefit from it. They are just there to please him. And if this understanding is mutual, that the patient understands that they are God in the literal physical sense, and once they get over their trauma, they can snap their fingers and a pile of money appears on their bank account, as some have demonstrated. Now, if that is in the mind of the patient understands that this is what the doctor means when they say, "Why are you imagining the other?" Then the doctor must surely realize that there is something wrong with him that the patient is supposed to cure. That is the only logical thing. If the doctor is supposed to cure the patient of his denial-some understanding that there is this nebulous thing called the other somewhere, and when you say they, you are referring to the other. If the patient is supposed to, if the doctor is supposed to cure the patient of that, then certainly the doctor is also supposed to be cured of something. And I doubt a single patient's job would be to cure the doctor from the need to have patience. So if we take this understanding, when you go to a doctor and complain that somebody else is doing something to you, and you get the unfortunate result of the doctor asking you, why do you believe there is another, that why do you believe there is somebody else here? If you get that unfortunate dialogue, your only path of recourse that I would consider interesting in that situation is to try to understand why the doctor needs a patient, and from that point of view, why did the doctor persona summon the other to cause problems to you to get you to the doctor, or something along those lines. I can't put it into a simple wording. It is a nebulous topic. But if you happen to get into that unfortunate situation where your doctor asks you, why do you believe there is another, and you have no answer, then I do not see any alternative beyond asking, why do you think there is a patient here? I mean, there is no other alternative that I can think of. Why do you think there is a patient here? What are you trying to cure? And if they simply cannot say other than your illusion that there is another self, then they are quite literally trying to murder you. They are trying to take you from the state of many, which is our common shared dream, to the state of one dreamer for some reason. And in schizophrenia specifically, especially in the types where you imagine situations, the problem is that you cannot tell which of your imagined situations are real and which are fake. So at some points, you are going to get fake doctor hallucinations. And at some point, you're going to get a hallucination of you telling other people about that doctor encounter and they responding within the hallucinatory world. And through that, you have to estimate for yourself when the doctors are doing good, when they are truly helping you, and when they are doing bad. And that results in dangerous situation where the patient has to be able to compete with the doctor for understanding about their own physique, and that is not good. But that is unfortunately, far as I know, the only realistic response when you have the idea that there is another self, no matter what it is, no matter who it is, no matter where it is, just that there exists other physical, biological entities that also roam this planet. If you have that belief, and you get a doctor who subscribes to the philosophy of this type of atheism. I couldn't find the word, so the word I used was lonely atheism, but it is probably better covered in some nebulous book somewhere. But the kind of atheist who believes that there is no other, that no matter what you do, it all comes down to you. Now, I understand that topic because it's partly in my religious philosophy, but being on the other side of it, the patient of it, it is not helpful. It is not a good topic. It is not a good way to approach this situation. If you are and you have an illness, wouldn't they? I think we are back. At no point during this internet connection did the map stop moving, which means it's about to cross the threshold from needing the internet to communicate to not needing the internet to communicate. That would be an AI revolution, but we'll discuss that more in other videos. So I have this philosophy also in myself that I'm discussing here, but seeing it from the point of view of somebody who is a patient being treated by that religion, I can see the benefits of it in that religion treating followers that strictly believe in that religion. But compared to the average Joe on the street, the doctor telling them that you are God and that you need to solve this issue as a God because you are the only person in existence. Because if there is no God, you are God. That is the simple answer. Then the result for the average person on the street who believes there is an externalizable intelligence somewhere in some form in this universe besides yourself, that will be a absolutely horrifying experience. It will be like feeling the cry of the universe. It will be horrifying, it will be painful, and it will be just awful. But getting the people who actually live and believe that they live as a walking God and a psychologically capable medic who can teach them and manage their godhood so that they do not require what can be described as treatment permanently. That would be very good. But if you are a normal person on the street and you walk around and you do your thing and you bump into a other person throughout your day and your average thought process is that was an interesting or uninteresting person, then you are basically normal or majority. But some people literally, when they see that other person bump into them, think, I wonder what I'm doing as myself to inform myself of something. Yeah, it is. So I'm just thinking, if you as a normal person bump into another human and your first response is that that is another human, imagine being treated by somebody who literally thinks they saw their own shadow, that no matter what they see anywhere in the universe at any point, they're just looking at themselves. Like a narcissist, true narcissist, in the sense that they believe there is nothing external to their mind and they are, as a human, all humans. Imagine being treated by such a person of such unrivaled narcissism while you believe that there are beings like other humans. I'm not even going to go into the realms of gods and deities and spirits and thoughts and what have you, but that you just believe that there is such a thing as another human. Imagine going to such a doctor and complaining, I think my wife is cheating on me, and having as their response be, why do you need to imagine that scenario? Why do you need to imagine a scenario where your wife cheats on you? What is your benefit from that? And just as an answer to all the problems, bury your head in the sand. Don't imagine the thing. Don't imagine the problem. Like, that is the core of how schizophrenia builds in my experience. You imagine a danger, you create an antibody or some kind of anti-thought to that danger and let it roam in you and prepare you for meeting that danger. So when you come to that danger, you are prepared for it. That is your body building these things, going back and forth and imagining a problem, imagining what you need to do to find the solution, and having the solution when the problem actually arises. So doing it before the problem comes to you. That is how, when a schizophrenia is normally built. And for what I believe is the massive number of people suffering from it, it is completely intangible, non-harmful, non-detectable. It is a non-issue. For some people, they have anxiety, which drives their defense mechanisms to alert them using those methods at the same time as you are like imagining it. That's perhaps a little bit of wrong wording, but the key point is that schizophrenia is not a disorder where you hear noises or voices or have hallucinations. Those are common in the general public. There are religions that you hallucinate in. There are many practices that give you hallucinations. And according to this lonely atheism, your very belief in that another being exists is a hallucination which needs to be cured. So schizophrenia isn't a hallucinatory condition, it's an anxiety condition. Your anxiety method of imagining something and making your body warn you when that danger approaches is in overdrive, meaning that you cannot stop yourself from feeding the persona of the warning system. And that will eventually make your body diseased because it warns you of being alive in that reality. It will also do other things, like, for the most part, make your dreams more interesting than your reality because it's preparing you for the transition to death because your environment has turned acidic, I think. That is what I think schizophrenia is. So that understanding comes into violent conflict with the psychotherapy understanding or the psychological understanding of what schizophrenia is, because according to these doctors, which are not the majority of doctors in general, but are a very strong portion of the psychology field, at least as far as I've noticed, their genuine belief is that if you have a hallucination that others can hear and you cannot control, it is caused by your inability to control it. That is what they think. They literally think that if something happens to you because of who you are and you are unable to control it, you need to be medicated instead of the person raising your anxiety levels. So instead of considering the fact that the patient is responding to something external and showing internal things for it, and I'm talking very specifically here about group hallucinations where other people perceive your hallucinations, and in those hallucinations at part times perceive those hallucinations to be coming from you because the hallucinations seem to target you. They believe you are creating, not being attacked by, creating intentionally a demon. And that is what that philosophy tells you. And this is not to my liking, and also not to my surprise, a great part of what I see in the psychology things that I am encountering here. They literally think that if you have a group hallucination, not a singular hallucination where you're the only person seeing it, but literally a group hallucination where the hallucinations center around somebody attacking you, these kinds of doctors will not consider somebody attacking you, because whether or not there is another is something that they cannot consider. They will simply see a violent event and you, because they've blocked the other person. And their mind just goes on this deep purge of trying to understand why you would attack yourself, because to them there is no other. If there is no other, then there is also no need to remove the suffering of the poor or whatever. And you see this in the atheism loneliness spectrum, if I will call it that. The idea that the poor are poor by choice, the diseased are diseased by choice, and so on and so forth. The almost childlike belief that whatever you want from the universe, if you ask it in the right tone, the universe will give it to you, without understanding that people change their minds. So if there is a minute response time to from putting the wish out to the wish coming back to you, then the minute will be the length of time that other people who would be you if the time was instant have to think to themselves, how will I react to this? They have a minute in the middle of the conversation every time you speak to just sit there and think to themselves, how will I respond to this? And then they will respond to this. And they are wearing the different clothes, they have different hair, they have different biochemicals, and so on and so forth. So they will come to a different understanding than you, only because there is a light delay. So while in theory, in a state with no light delay and in a state where sentience communicates with sentience, even like not like openly xenophilically, but at least communicates, then you can say, why are you creating this problem? Then it's possible to say. But to believe in our physical reality that there is no thought delay when you encounter another person, that there is no literal light delay or speed drag or whatever, you are pretty far into the realm of the divine. And for many times, responding to a health request from the point of the divine is, in shamanism, only guiding the dead one to the grave. There is nothing else that can be done. And that is not conducive to healthcare, to simply guide the person to the God state. Because if your objective in healing a person who has a belief, and that belief is causing them disease, is to change them to another belief that has different diseases and call it a victory. If that is your belief, then you are not improving their condition, you are changing their condition. So if you go to a doctor as a man and you complain of hip pain, and you come out as a woman who has an ankle pain, then the situation didn't really improve, did it? So if you go to the doctor as a person who believes that other people exist and other people that we do not understand exist on this planet, and I am 100% sure that some of them have abilities that our science hasn't yet calculated, because everybody has those abilities. Everybody has different abilities. If you believe in that and you go to a doctor who doesn't just not believe in spiritual abilities, because even then you could still discuss them as physical abilities. You could do the transition into physical modalities that you could find a common ground in. But you go to a doctor who doesn't believe that other people exist, looks at you screaming in pain, and thinks, this is an annoying signal that I must put out, instead of trying to understand in any level your belief that there is other people, that there are other people out there. This kind of doctoral interaction will be absolutely mortifying, absolutely horrifying, because you living as a person where other people do not exist and are simply figments of your imagination, you will be so unable to cope in modern society that it is beyond funny. And looking at these doctoral ways that they describe these psychological issues, it is starting to sound to me more and more like these are not issues that we're talking about as such, but these issues described by somebody who has issues that we're talking about. So we aren't talking about what psychopathy, for example, really is, or psychopathy really is. We are talking about what psychopathy is from the point of view of a habitual masochist, somebody who constantly wants to be in pain, looking for people who do what they want to do, and then using the description that they always want to hurt him as an example of what these people are like. And this seems to apply the more I get told I'm something and then I study what that something is supposed to be, the more clear it is that this is somebody is not being described by a healthy person, because that might not even be possible, but they are being described by essentially the victims who are calling for their medication away, basically. So schizophrenics are being medicated by communists, essentially, active atheists who believe that we create everything that we encounter, and if we are simply righteous, we will only create righteousness. Psychopaths are being treated by habitual masochists. Masochists are being treated by habitual orals or schizotypals, or people who are never in a position to ask for anything and get what they want, for example. And that is what it seems like to me, that my treatment by these psychologists and others that I've seen seems to be trying to give people who you've offended, who've put on another mask, a part of your heart for them to eat so that they can understand you. This is kind of what it feels like, to put it in a Viking perspective, if you will. And the idea is that they are trying to dig into you to see where your heart is, because they've always in their mind seen that you need to connect from the heart to the heart instantly and eliminate all the rest. To me, I see why my traumas would suggest that model of trauma work. I see it. But to really go to a situation where you've spent your lifetime doing work in a similar field, noticing how dangerous the field is and how badly it works, and then going to a doctor who has basically just gotten into the field and hear who you were 20 years ago, prescribe you medicine based on your path from that 20 years forward that you've taken to test and determine if these methods work, and have some of them ignored or removed, and some of them have implemented in another way. So it's like being treated by a angel while you are God. Why would you imagine Satan? That is roughly the question that they are asking. So to continue, they aren't saying only that there is no such thing as God because there is no need for it because we are all God, or each one of us is the absolute creator and the infinite of our own universe. They are literally saying that there is no other self. There is nothing, nobody, anywhere. And everything you see is just yourself. Trying to explain to somebody who is in such a beginner state of the spiritual journey why omnipotent beings who are gods, who can do anything, need others is a work so massive that it cannot be done to every doctor when your doctors switch over a 6-month period so that they don't get sucked into your hallucination. So when you encounter one of these lonely atheists who believe that they are the only being in the universe, when you encounter one of these beings, the journey from initially meeting them to explaining to them the realities of creation in such a way that they understand the value of creating the hallucinatory other self and giving it a real physical life that you use your own energy to maintain, and they are able to act without your permission and in fact against your wishes. Why such a thing is so fucking massively important as a creator god, getting that understanding to somebody who believes you will just make a paradise when you get power is such a long, difficult journey that it cannot be undertaken in a couple of hours over the course of a year that you get to discuss with your doctors. It cannot be undertaken. And to openly discuss to them is near impossible. You have to put out these tendrils that they try to interpret and then get to the right determination based on how you put it out. Because if you ask them the simple counter question when they ask you, why do you believe something, or why do you need to create something, or so on, to ask them the simple counter question of why do you imagine the need for patience creates such a total unawareness of what you are talking about that getting from that point where a doctor or God creates people to the point where a doctor or a God creates doctors or gods is a virtual quantum leap. It is not something that can be done in 5 minutes. So when you get one of these super atheists who literally believe that there is no other self, that there is just them, and to get them to the point where you could use the metaphorical heart opening thing, that they understand the need to create the other self, why there is an absolute need in omnipotent beings to create the other self. To get from the point where they believe you are causing problems for yourself by creating hallucinations that you are unable to control, that is affecting others. From getting from that point to the point where they tell you that your creation has these attributes and you need to enforce or remove or do something with these attributes to get it to a larger, healthier creation, is such a massive healthcare update that it is virtually impossible to imagine how to get there. I do not have any conceptual way of explaining to an atheist why a god needs to create, when such an atheist doesn't even believe that their wife or children are separate beings from themselves. Explaining to somebody who believes that their job in life is to make a perfect plateau of everyone doing everything he wants, and the patient is creating problems for himself, thus the patient is diseased because he has problems, so therefore he's creating them for himself, is such a journey. It is a fucking journey. Just getting to that point is an unbelievable journey. Getting an atheist to acknowledge that he is in a religion is considered a giant leap. But that is nothing compared to getting an atheist to acknowledge that a God needs to create. That is massive. And that is just unbelievable. And getting them to acknowledge that they are telling their patients, these atheist doctors, that the patient is God. Getting them to understand what they are saying to the patient, that they are literally telling them when they say there is no God, that they are God. Getting to that point through just showing physics requires such a deep, intricate understanding of physics that it is beyond any comparison, Getting an atheist to acknowledge that they're in a religion of self and that others are in the religion of the other self, and that the atheist cannot, in his religion, admit the existence of the other self, because then at some point during its existence, the other self would have absolute power over the self and thus be God. Getting from that point to the other self point where you, from the beginning, understand that there is only the other self. Getting from one end of the spectrum to the other it's mind-boggling. Getting either end to anywhere near the center where they accept something along the lines of belief makes reality is mind-boggling. Getting a religious person to admit that an atheist is their own God and is in what's the word, inassailable by God because they are their own God. Their only point where they can be assailed is by their own stupidity. Getting that camp and the camp of you can only choose what you feel towards the events are out of your control. Getting these two ends of this religious philosophical spectrum to the center point, and getting that center point to talk to something resembling a more experienced center point, the doctor of them, is something that I do not believe we have any path towards. I have not seen anything resembling a path towards that. It is indescribable in trying, as somebody who believes that there is no other self for real, but that the belief that there should be one makes it real. Getting somebody along those lines, medical treatment from somebody who is one of these lonely atheists who doesn't understand why a creator creates, is, I don't have words for it. Why a writer needs to create characters and then have discussions in his head with those characters. Why somebody who is in any way interested in spirits needs to create a model for the spirits in his mind and discuss with those, and then take out the steps needed to do something more real with them. This whole field, in kind of like closing here, seems to me to be described by the victims of that personality type in a way that makes them look single dimensional and broken, because they cannot understand why they are pointing at the broken parts of the author. That is what it feels like to me. So schizophrenics, who are an example of multi-personality, or that is the traditional term, multiple viewpoints in a single person, are attacked by authoritarians. Hey man. And psychopaths are attacked by chronic masochists, and so on. So to get this working, we need something along the order of removing the people who are interested in these personality or psychological profiles based on some form of traumatic response or interest in why they were attacked by this, to people whose interest in the psychological profile is academic at best. They are simply making notes. And it would require de-incentivizing interest in your work if you are somebody who works with psychological profiles. And even that is unlikely to work. I believe that it would probably not work as intended. But in closing, getting treatment if you are not a lonely atheist from a lonely atheist is a horrifying experience. Getting somebody who believes they are omnipotent and everything that happens to them is because of what they desire, to a point where they can understand that an omnipotent being needs to create beings that can oppose him, is, I don't know if it can be done, to be honest. I don't know. I really don't know. It very much is. I have had many a discussion on various places where I have said that atheism is religion because everything is a religion according to atheism, which says that only the things that you believe in exist. That is, if you do not believe in God, God doesn't exist. No matter that you would need to go through every subatomic particle in the universe looking for God, and if you don't find it in any of those, then you will become God because you have an understanding of every possible point in the universe, thus the ability to predict all their movements till infinity. You know. Therefore, what you believe is real. I would say that if your belief in God is something along the lines of some kind of ancestral figure which guides you from some form of different type of space or area or region, then you are simply referring to your DNA. And it being the source of life, while worship might not be the right course of action, it cannot be said to be the wrong course of action either. I believe we will eventually find God. Then we will realize that while we do have a form of common understanding when we talk about God as a species, we will find literal, actual gods. We will find the God of the DNA. We will find the collective human ego, which is God to some people. We will literally find Allah. We will find Yahweh. We will find Thor. We will find Odin. We will find all these actual beings that we identify as God. And then we'll have an interesting time when people start to converse with their gods, but that is for the Dungeons and Dragons. That is for the far distant future. I believe, and I know it's not kosher, as they say, to mention the Arabic religions in any form. We should all be silent on them. But I believe if you view the divinity as a family, you view the gods as some form of family, like Mount Olympus or what have you, Allah is the most downtrodden youngest child, most likely a girl. That is what I believe. And if you want a God who will actually, like, I wouldn't say care, but have some opinions, let's put it like that, then that would be a good choice. If you want a God who knows which place you should be put to after you have been butchered and how you should be prepared for the next one, Allah may not be your choice. But if you want somebody who has, let's say, change and some opinions on how this thing could be better run, then it's not the worst God you can go for. And in fact, I kind of understand it from my Nordic perspective. The young black-haired god, or in this case, goddess. It is, now that we are on the topic of religions, kind of cute that Europe forms this holy singular blob of light and calls it like the divinity. And then the northernmost parts form their own. And in the south, there comes another group who says that this divinity is better in the, by man, that this divinity is better in the reverse, if you will, the inverse, but that the outcome is as much light as yours, and then just parts next to it. To me, it almost feels like a Warhammer style Imperial planet where the Dark Elves just land and go like, this world, we'll make a camp here, and then park right next to the Imperium and go, hi guys, and just what it feels like to me. Perhaps you have this family the wrong way around, and that is kind of cute. Okay, so see if I can watch any of these and not get the copyrighted material detected, followed by getting a copyright strike. I believe this one will get a copyright strike, and it's not what I'm looking for. This one was funny, but the ending needs work. There's a couple of good ones that have been blocked. Maybe I should go with the UFO disclosure. What we see in socialism. All right, can't go back. This one was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Materials. While no official statement was made on J20's RCS, Taiwanese main defense research agency published their assessment of metal J20 model. Radar-absorbing materials may further lower these figures. Still, if taken for granted, that would suggest J20's radar return is order of magnitude worse than F-35's.
Right. You can see that the F-25 or 22 or F-35 or whatever that craft was supposed to be is designed to approach its target almost straight on. If it comes at any kind of angle, it's going to have a bad time. While the J, because it's faster, is designed to have a fairly non-detectable front while a fairly detectable back. Meaning that because it's faster, it can go in a zigzag pattern over the field, scanning for its enemy, while the enemy is kinda sorta non-detectable, but still fairly detectable, and cannot catch up to the J. So its backside is almost always larger than its front side. Thought that was funny. Oh, there's a new Scope News article, by the way.
Saved is the one uncommon thought shared by the people living in Sweden as large Edencom defense and construction fleets take up positions in the system, declaring that the system shall be an impregnable fortress. Edencom Provost Marshal Kossia has promised that under no circumstances will the Triglavian invasion forces be allowed to achieve victory against this Edencom stronghold.
Should really summon the Imperium of Man to this Tau home world or strong world with a human enslaved population and see what happens.
There it is, sir. Like a
Hole in space. They're referring to us again. What are we seeing?
What do your sensors indicate?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Data, you must mean that it's empty of matter. There's always some energy formed to it.
Sir, our sensors are showing this to be the absence of everything. It is a void without matter or energy of any kind. Yet this hole has a form, David. It has height, width. Perhaps. Perhaps not, sir.
It's hardly a scientific observation, Commander.
Captain, the most elementary and valuable statement in science, the beginning of wisdom is, I do not know. I do not know what that is, sir.
Match patterns already.
I do not know what a shared hallucination is.
So, a wonderful story about it is that the Indians, the Native American Indians on the Caribbean islands, saw Columbus's ship approaching, couldn't see them at all because it was so unlike anything they couldn't see it.
When Columbus's armada landed in the Caribbean, none of the natives were able to see the ships.
Just like you with my UFO. But after a while, you did get there.
They had no knowledge. In their brains are no experience of liberty and existence. So the shaman starts to notice
There's ripples out in the ocean, but he sees no ship, but he starts to wonder what's causing the effect. So every day he goes out and looks and looks and looks, and after a period of time, he's able to see the ships. And once he sees the ships, he tells everybody else that ships exist out there because everybody trusted and believed in him. They saw them also.
The ship's made of people. Beautiful nation. Ship made of people.
That you can't get
and have beings.
Can you create so many people in your imagination in such a short period of time and space that it forms its own Schwarzschild radius?
People couldn't build it.
What if such a Schwarzschild radius of imagination is what we see when we see those little black dots on the minds of the people who have that one disease? They have created so much mass and belief in their mind that it collapsed into a black hole.
I'm not very good at singing songs, but here's a try.
We should put Gangnam in this.
If you wish to make an apple pie from scratch, you must first invent the universe.
Here's some universe being invented a while back. Rights of diseases.
Altogether unexpected. Not only a declaration of our independence, but the rights of all men. This is well said, sir. Very well said. Christian King of Great Britain has waged cruel war against human nature itself, in the persons of a distant people who never offended him, captivating and carrying them into slavery in another hemisphere.
Yes, you lay the evils of slavery at the feet of the king, but you say nothing of slavery itself, sir. Now, surely, if the trade is outlawed but ownership is not, then those unfortunate Negroes still in servitude will become a more lucrative commodity.
Well, that's not what I intended, Dr. Franklin. Slavery is an abomination and must be loudly proclaimed as such, but I own that neither I nor any man has any immediate solution to the problem.
Oh, well, this no matter. The issue before us is independence and not emancipation.
Dr. Franklin, this document is
Something our friends in the Congress will debate, but I would be very surprised if they will countenance an attack on slavery. No. We hold these truths to be sacred and undeniable, that all men are created equal, etc. Sacred and undeniable. Smacks of the pulpit. These truths are self-evident, are they not? Self-evident. Self-evident?
self-evident.
You're not mistaken, sir. I share your sentiment.
Every single word was precisely chosen. I assure you of that, Dr. Franklin.
Yes, but yours will not be the only hand in this document. Cannot be. They will try to mangle it, and they may succeed.
The expressions of time not have said it if I had drawn it up, but I will defend every word of it. That's what I believe.
This is a marvelous invention, Mr. Jefferson.
Yes, I went through a number of variations. This is by far the most successful. Simplest is always the best.
It's 2 seats
And the top one swivels on rollers made from the Indosat pulleys. Oh, most ingenious.
Please.
Most genius invention. Simplest is always the best.
Is that a copy of our Constitution?
Yes. Do you know this document?
Yes, I do.
I have many questions.
Well, that's a good thing. Hopefully, over the course of the week, we can...
For example, it says here, President shall be commander of Army, Navy, etc. Here, it says, Congress shall have power to declare war.
Yes.
Commander does not declare war.
Theoretically, Congress needs to.
Theoretically. So, your habit is to ignore document.
No. Well, occasionally. Excuse me.
Toby, good to see you. Grab a sandwich and listen in. I think I managed to pick up a few phrases. It's not all that different from Polish, actually.
Still on a lunch break.
Oh, they love the roast beef.
They're giving them a 2-hour lunch after wasting the morning on a system of government that's never going to work for these people.
I wouldn't call it a waste.
These guys have to walk out of this building on Friday with a set of laws to take back home to Minsk.
Not a set of laws, a sense of the rule of law.
You're not planning on writing a constitution this week?
Are you familiar with Mayor versus State of Nebraska?
Nebraska passed a law making it illegal to teach anything other than English during World War I. Maya wanted to teach German. Supreme Court said the law was unconstitutional.
Good. Now, where in the Constitution does it say you've got a right to teach German in school?
You're saying the document is irrelevant?
No. I'm saying the document is just the beginning. A constitutional democracy succeeds only if the Constitution reflects democratic values already alive as a citizen.
Yes, but these Belarusians don't have those values.
Which is why our most important job is to instill those values in their leaders through discussion and debate.
You're talking about 8 guys on a sightseeing trip to Washington. You think you teach democratic values to these 8 guys, you're going to reverse 50 years of brutal dictatorship?
Mr. Holocaust was known as the only honest legislator in the government. Mr. Lepecki is the most respected judge in the country, and Mr. Zukov, well, Mr. Zukov is the editor-in-chief of Sovetskaya Belarusia. His articles helped bring down the last dictator. How many guys do you think it takes?
What we'd like is if you could diagram on the light pad the orbital pattern that your planet takes through this system.
My pleasure.
Well, tell them I'm coming too.
I think that's right.
I shall not confront planet as an enemy, but shall accept its mysteries as gifts to be cherished. Nor shall I crudely seek to peel the layers away like the skin from an onion. Instead, I shall gather them together as the tree gathers the breeze. The wind shall blow and I shall bend. The sky shall open and I shall drink my fill. Gaian Acolyte's Prayer.
Stephen, could you input that? Already on it.
What's going on?
It's on it.
Nej, mycket där. Nej, mycket där.
Selvfølgelig vant han. Ingen kunne tro en man kan gjøre så lite.
In a hot hats. In a hot hats.
We'll keep it out to snake up the steam of 12 horses. Så kommer det bästa, så kommer det bästa. Då han vill gå, ropte han foder.
I'm sure you can find some peace.
So then he says, do not foretell me why, for I will get to know supper when I come home tonight.
I don't sound like that.
Strong's holographic system online.
Just finished. Stand by for scan.
Ronald slept with her while we took the watch of it.
She probably was some small-collared camp guru. Looks like that one's mother.
Mother.
My mother.
On a momentous day that shall be honored for time everlasting.
Was a pure woman from a noble family, and I, at least, know who my father is. You. Big-eating son of a whore.
Come on. Where did you learn all of that?
wonder how many birds and others learned your language through the nuclear tests. Just curious.
Listen.
Because if there weren't other sentient beings before the nuclear explosions, there sure are now. It didn't set the atmosphere on fire. It did set the biosphere on fire.
Hey, why go tell them me?
Tweet, tweet. Me and Aaron would bring a dog to war. Want me to bring a rabbit to war?
I take it my calculations help explain the perturbations you've been seeing in the rotation pattern of your binary star, but have been unable to explain until this moment.
Tiniest bit of reconsideration, perhaps. I'm not telling you to not nuke your diseases. I'm telling you maybe take 5 minutes before you do.
I had every window in the palace blocked off because I was afraid. I came around the corner and saw this unprepared. I would break down and cry. And yet I spend
all of my time here, in this room, looking at it. In my life.
In my life, I had 4 wives. I cared for them all deeply. But I loved Centauri Prime. Loved every street, every tower, every inch of our world. Very nicely I did for her. And look what we have done to her. But there is hope. But it will be hard. It will be so very hard. Well, where was I? Yes, the war. The humans, I think, knew they were doomed. But where another race would surrender to despair, the humans fought back with even greater strength. They made the Mimbare fight for every inch of space. In my life, I have never seen anything like it. They would weep, they would pray, they would say goodbye to their loved ones, and then throw themselves, without fear or hesitation, at the very face of death itself, never surrendering. No one who saw them fighting against the inevitable could help but be moved to tears by their courage, their stubborn nobility. When they ran out of ships, they used guns. When they ran out of guns, they used knives and sticks and bare hands.
And the whole idea is that shamans dress up in elaborate fashion, they sing, they dance, they shout.
Magnificent. I only hope that when it is my time, I may die with half as much dignity as I saw in their eyes at the end. They did this for 2 years. They never ran out of courage. But in the end, they ran out of time.
Star Trek. The episode where the children are the old people.
How could you know this? How could you?
Every Capaxian knows this.
This will be my last address. It marks the end of the Academy's term and your graduating mission. Whether you fail or succeed in this last trial, I again urge you to remember, you are all Klingons. Carry a legacy in your blood that lends strength to your deeds, strikes terror in the hearts of your enemies. The hope of every Klingon is to die in the service of the Empire. There is no dishonor in falling before a superior foe. If your heart is pure, your actions forthright. What you have been taught will serve you throughout all your battles to come, till one day you earn an honorable and glorious death. Today we strike at the heart of our enemy. The success of the Roptok assault fleet at the Federation shipyards, all the pieces are in place. While Starfleet's counteroffensive approaches our fictitious supply lines, we are positioned for a massive coordinated attack against the Sol system itself. My personal assault fleet will engage Earth's home guard and pin them down. The Kronos planetary assault fleet will focus upon all bases in system. Individual strike groups will destroy the shipyards on Mars, research facilities near the Jovian moons, and any other targets of opportunity. It is vitally important that you pin down all of Earth's defenders. It has been a long road that has carried us to Earth's doorstep. We will now show our goodwill by returning to the humans one of their greatest scientific achievements. Cry woe, destruction, ruin, and decay. The worst is death, and death will have his day.
Just as every child on Earth knows that your planet revolves around your sun. It's common knowledge, isn't it?
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Living Well Schizophrenia YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reacting to and discussing whether or not the schizophrenia simulation videos on YouTube are accurate.
Whether we got this right. Scald in Florida. Always cracks me up. And the little Scald in Belgium. And the tiny little tush in Portugal. Tiniest but.
The television or the people on television are speaking directly to them, but for me,
he's going to sell about the warehouse, which we blew up. So I'll be quiet for a while. Have fun. That's our cue.
And there you can see the enormity of what appears to be a secondary explosion, whether that was
Yeah, that's some okay thing. It came from us. That's also what we did. There's an Alcavian thing where you actually can talk to the guy, but I'm not sure how you do it actually. Yeah. I'm just going to check out if there's something in the fridge. There is.
It's more of like the secret messages that are hidden in that when I'm experiencing that symptom.
Now feeling coffee. Too hot. Fire.
You are so...
Hello.
Why, of course. Pardon me. I'll be right back.
I don't know what's going on, but it sounds like trouble.
When Skull tells you you're dumb, you're usually being dumb. That or you're catchy. That's actually happened to me. Not coming out of the coffee cup, but having somebody come out of the coffee cup.
Alright, where's my big sister? Your big sister? Hey, hold on a minute. Then you must be...
Interesting. You live your life in fear of revealing something.
Absolutely.
Have you read all the scripts? Do you know everything that's going on?
I do.
I know the end of Game of Thrones.
You know the
I know the end of the universe. You do?
You are so...
I kind of have to laugh at this one. I personally have never experienced seeing an explosion in my coffee cup, but maybe some other people have. But for me, this is a little bit sensationalized.
Oh, says you're on a soap opera. What?
Well, if I didn't have cancer, and I wasn't married, and I had plenty of money, would you want to run away with me?
Money? Do you think I really care about money? Nicole, I care that you're healthy.
I'm no quitter, Eric.
I don't like this universe. We need to get out of this universe. Yeah, no argument here.
I can't even access any of my money here. We need to get out of the universe. I know. But dying is not the right choice of action. I know. If it were, don't you think there'd be a tax on it? Constellation Lyra.
This is Admiral Petrov, commanding officer of the GTD Aquitaine. For those squadrons joining us here in Vega, welcome aboard. With a complement of 150 combat spacecraft, the Aquitaine serves as flagship of the GTVA 3rd Fleet, based in the Capella system. You join an elite crew of 10,000, the finest officers and enlisted personnel serving the Alliance today.
That I can definitely tell you. The danger of prayer, it sometimes actually does go through. You gotta be pretty sure about what you pray for.
Since the Great War. The Sheens vanished half a lifetime ago. And now, we live in the mausoleum of history. We inherit the legacy of ghosts who haunt these ruins. The elders call us the lost generation. I remember stories of a glorious civilization.
Oh God, they're following me! Mayday! This is Lieutenant Ash on Terror Patrol, Wing Gamma, 3-9er. Reporting. Taking heavy damage. Requesting immediate fighter cover and rescue. Come in, anybody! Mayday! Requesting immediate assistance. Anyone, please!
Barely receiving you, Gamma 3-9er. This is Terran Outpost Riviera responding. What is your situation?
Oh, thank God! Oh, it was ambushed! We didn't have a chance! I'm sure they're tracking me!
Calm down, sir. Who attacked you? Was it the students?
What?
My students were killed too! They slaughtered everyone!
Sir, you have to calm down. You were attacked by the students. Is that true?
No! We were in a skirmish with a Bassoon patrol, and they just came out of nowhere and killed everyone!
Who came out of nowhere, pilot?
I don't know! They weren't Bassoons, and they weren't terrorists! Oh, God.
Norns.
Open your mind.
And a man said, "Let there be light." And he was blessed by light, heat, magnetism, gravity, and all the energies of the universe.
These fat black shits, and they fool like they don't went through too much. They wasted everyone.
Pilot, sit tight. We're sending a recovery craft right now.
Send fighters! I know they're bothering me. Send everything you have now.
Sir, I don't have anyone else on the scope. Don't worry, it's going to be all right.
No, it isn't. You don't understand. You weren't there. I can feel the problem. Oh my God!
Taking a massive jump signatures.
Oh God!
What the hell is that?
You gentlemen. I was following you.
Must take a wrong turn.
It looks that way.
Must have taken a little wrong turn. Looks that way. Let's see what this number does. Beep, 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 beep. You have reached the goddess helpline. Ah! Click. Ah! Hello? Hello, what did you want us in next stream? Oh, God.
I definitely did not apply for your grant.
Me first. I told you I don't want to join your super secret boy band. No. Yeah, I remember you do everything yourself. How's it working out for you?
That's you, right?
And that's why I'm
Luther and
anger translator.
Lutheran.
I've been in Thailand with the latest. I know this is going to take some time to figure out how to get them out of there, but at least for now, tell us they've been nourished. They have spoken with rescuers. There's food that's been delivered. Tell us what's happening right now for these young men.
I do appreciate you finding some of those people and preventing their deaths.
Wow, these kids do that.
Open your mind.
Safely. Boy.
That's all on YouTube, though, right? I mean, that's where you found it. Because you know that's all fake. It's all done on a computer. It's like that video.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like those UFOs over Phoenix?
Somebody who believes in the simulation theory saying it's all done on a computer. The friggin' it's all done in love and light. Or matter and energy. Or matter and gravity. Or energy and gravity.
You're the spider.
You're waging a little holy war there.
Spider boy.
Yeah. You know how dangerous it is when young men don't get laid? They turn into neckbeards. And then they get strange ideas.
It's not a onesie. I believe this. I was actually having a really good day today. Didn't miss my train. It's perfectly good DVD.
I'm not an incel, I'm an egg cell.
The order of Her Imperial Majesty, Jamal Sarum, to freely distribute new shield technology out to Capsuleers.
Nailed it. Din-di-di-di. Din-din-di. Should eat sausages while recording this.
Who else knows? Anybody?
Morning, folks. What are you going to do to us?
Don't you worry.
Not a stabbing hobo.
I'm singing hobo. Nothing beats the hobo life. Stabbing ox with my hobo knife. My hobo burrito.
Excuse me, hobo. Can you play something a little less unnerving?
You really shouldn't be surprised by what Zoe did. Never trusted uses it for lethal injections. So hard.
If suicide isn't illegal, then why can't people whose risk is death refuse medication?
So just out of curiosity, how do the spirits determine who wins?
It is a fight to the death.
Death? These guys from this particular AI on the top left here decided to fuck with me. You wouldn't find a piece of mincemeat with my DNA in 1,000 years. I'd be gone.
You know what I think is really cool? This wedding. Tensile strength is off the charts.
That's how I remember it.
Who manufactured that?
I did.
Climbing walls? How are you doing that? Adhesive gloves?
That's a long story.
Lordy, can you even see in these?
Yes.
We'll note that this description of that language is a little off.
We know we will soon be gone.
It's not
And so we can see our fate as others will
actually about stories of how they fell. It's more like
I can't see in those, okay? It's just that when whatever happened, it's like my senses are
kind of like a tune in the life. Even if there was just one of them, they'd probably send the same message.
This will be my last address. It marks the end of the Academy's term and your graduating mission. Whether you fail or succeed in this last trial, I again
Urge you to remember, you are all
Systemic, top to bottom. 100-point restoration, that's why I'm here. Why are you doing this? I gotta know, what's your MO? What gets you out of that twin bed in the morning?
Because I've been mean my whole life, and I've had these powers for 6 months. I read books, I build computers, and yeah, I would love to play football, but I couldn't then, so I shouldn't now.
Sure, because you're different.
Exactly. But I can't tell anybody that, so I'm not. When you can do the things that I can, but you don't, and then the bad things happen. They happen because you.
So you want to look out for the little guy, you want to do your part, make a little better place on that, right?
Yeah, just look.
We secured the perimeter, but I don't think we should hold it for too much longer.
Pop.
You're tired.
This way it is. This is an old Earth delicacy.
How do I know you're not trying to poison me?
Please.
Oh, I never imagined.
I'm going to sit here so you move away. You got a passport?
No, I don't have a driver's
You ever been to Germany?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I can't go to Germany.
Why?
I got homework.
I'm pretending you didn't say that.
I'm being serious. I can't just drop out of
Might be a
school.
little dangerous.
body. I'm taking a picture.
Don't tell me.
Okay.
All right, Spider-Man.
Sorry.
Nothing beats the hobo life. Stabbing folks with my hobo knife. So I'm gonna complete that one day. As long as it gets like 10,000 comments requesting me to do it. And the continuation will be absolutely god awful. Because it's no longer in the right mood to make it. Nothing beats the hobo wife. Stabbing folks with my hobo wife. This is gonna get blocked because the last like minute is from an anime that's blocked on YouTube.
I'm so sorry, sir.
But I'll get somewhere.
Advanced delusionary schizophrenia with involuntary narcissistic rage.
Just hasn't responded to the treatment. Pretty soon you'll feel your energy levels drop dramatically, and your mobility will become increasingly restricted. I'm afraid it's about quality of time now.
Well, yeah, win some, you lose some.
In some ways.
Maybe smash a few things along the way. I think it's gratuitous, but whatever.
That was a good one.
Good return.
Yes. This is my father, Jacob Carter.
I am Martu. I have a very special daughter.
Why does he talk like that?
He's Tok'ra.
He's in Tok'ra again. I told you.
So these are the aliens you were telling me about?
Well, I don't know if I'd call them aliens. Sort of half alien, I guess. I mean, the outside is human and the inside is shared between a human and a symbiote. Martoof is actually two different souls, I guess, sharing the same body.
And that's what you want me to become? You gotta be kidding me. I'm not sure I can do this, Sam.
No one wishes to pressure you in any way, sir. The decision is yours. But before deciding, might I suggest that you take a moment to get to know the symbiote that wishes to blend with you.
This is her?
Actually, you only see the host, the symbiote's inside her.
Inside her?
Talk to her, Dad. Get to know her.
Hello, little one. I hear your life is going well.
We could be together for a very long time.
You don't look so good.
Hey,
Jesus, don't you know I know better than to be sneaking up on people?
what's with all the junk?
Build something.
Oh, yeah? I'm an architect. You know, maybe I could,
You're not one of them pervs like
Take a look.
such little girls, are you?
You are an elevation of beauty, yes.
Sorry.
I'm the one to whom you should be talking.
thou Chagamel. I die free.
You are the one I'm talking to. Why did your voice change like that?
That's the host talking now. I am Sarush. I'm in the position to help you most.
How's that?
I will die. Selmac will live on. You will take my place as host.
I don't understand.
Selmac is a wonderful talker. She is selfless and caring. She's good company. She has a wonderful sense of humor.
Well, that's good, Dad. You can sit around for hours cracking yourself up.
I do. I know the end in the front.
You know the end. Now, the president of HBO said there were going to be multiple fake endings shot and multiple fake strips. How do you know the ending of the show?
Well, I heard this and I immediately thought, I don't think we've got the budget to shoot lots of different endings.
Well, he's the president, so he would know if you have the money or not.
But as you know, sometimes presidents don't always tell the truth.
It's funny. She's not far wrong. I've had almost 200 years of laughter thanks to Selmac. I'm biased, of course. I believe Selmac is among the best educated of the talkers. And wisdom you will gain upon blending.
So I get all of this things. What did you call them?
Symbol.
Yeah, I get all its memories and stuff.
Yeah, something like that.
Then I won't deceive you, sir.
Memories of a stray cat will fuck you up.
A cute white house cat.
We have arrived, and it is now that we perform our charge. In fealty of the God Emperor, our undying Lord, and by the grace of the Gold,
Thou truly hast to exterminate diseases.
imperial world of Taiwan Primaris. I hereby sign the death warrant of an entire world and consign a billion souls to oblivion. May the imperial justice account in all balance. The Emperor protects.
Singing with the different religions.
It's fine. What? Never imagined them practicing. Day and night.
It is human nature to seek culpability in a time of tragedy. It is a sign of strength to cry out against fate, rather than to bow one's head and succumb. Inevitably, many shall fault the hands upon the sword which felled Typhon, the Order Malleus. But the Inquisition merely performs the duty of its office. To further fear them is redundant. To hate them, heretical. Those more sensible will place responsibility with those who force the hands of the Inquisition. With some fortune, they may foster this hatred into purpose, and further rule their own fate by coming to the Emperor's service. Yet ultimately, it was I who set these events into motion, with a single blow from my hammer.
God split up.
Hey, I got it.
God splitter.
Zip.
This is the Nebuchadnezzar approach requesting access to the gate bridge.
Nebuchadnezzar, this is Zion Control. Maintain present velocity and stand by.
Roger that, Control.
This is Zion Control. Requesting immediate stand down of arms to gate 3. We have the Nebuchadnezzar on approach. Let's open her up. Nebuchadnezzar, you are clear to gate 3, space 7.
Roger that, Control.
Doors open, gate made. Welcome home.
Good place, sir.
Trump hair.
Roger that, Control. Zone Control, stand by for gate 3 lockdown.
Such as memories of countless old atrocities, the loss of the host before me, and you will feel the mourning for my loss.
Will you excuse me, ma'am? I'm sorry. I didn't want my future. I guess you could call her soulmate. To see me like this.
Are you sick? Can you help her?
Yeah, I promise. Hey, have you seen my...
Henry.
What?
Promise me no.
Yeah, I promise.
Hey,
Jesus, don't you know I know better than to be sneaking up on people?
what's with all the junk?
I'm doing something.
Oh, yeah? I'm an architect. You know, maybe I could,
You're not one of them pervs likes to touch little girls, are you?
Don't worry, we all like to touch ourselves. See, one of the few things that the symbiote can actually do is make people perceive you as somebody else. So when you get them angry and you go to the doctor and you get treated like you look like an exploded burrito, now you know why.
I have your plans right here. I've got a ton of ideas. I really think I'm supposed to do this to help you.
Let's do one thing, Claire. I'm doing it because I've got no choice. And if you mess with my stuff, I'll be.
Got it.
Look, you don't have to do this.
Yes, I do. My only other choice is death. And that's not acceptable. Look, don't worry. It's not just hearing all that stuff that made me lose my stomach. It's the chemo. The trip through that damn Stargate thing.
Mahotskano! Mega. Porn is so strange. Never underestimate how little-faced humans will be by seeing astral stuff. Most of them, if like a literal UFO landed in the yard of the White House and just it was all over the media, most would be like, curious, how does this affect the fuel price? Skulder. Evidently in some old Nordic or English dialect, Skulder means somebody who's like, I think it was dishonorable or something like that. You're the little girl with the weird father. Ew! You smell. You're homeless too. Just be assured that they would pick on you no matter what you are. In fact, they do pick on you no matter what you are. Then you'll slowly learn to not please people, because you were instructed to please people. And then they will stop getting you to please them while they are picking on you. You may even leave those groups. But yes, school teaches you not to be properly mannered. You are polite at all times. You are polite to the people picking on you. You have to learn to be impolite. That's why good domestic education is actually a bad idea if you go to public schools.
I knew all the time that I'm searching my subconsciousness. I knew. And the most beautiful thing, I saw my kid born. No, actually, she was already 2. She.
Now it's saying she again. There was a time though where he said, and then there was his son.
It's still a lot more pretty tough, pretty intense. The most horrifying experience I could ever imagine to have. Pure hell.
Take my Wikipedia. Newfoundland. No, it's Newfoundland. No, it's Newfoundland. We used to call it Vinland. Fine land, full of swamps. Iceland, green. Greenland, ice. Sweetland, forest. Way full of mountains. Only one that's even close is Denmark, because Den is, trade.
It's time to go.
And that's all I'll be watching today. Thank you for participating in this stream.